What's up, YouTube? Back here with another video, and the topic of today's video is getting out of survival mode. The reason I chose this topic for today, it is something I see a lot of my people going through in a constant state of survival, and something I had to get out of personally. And ever since I've gotten out of this state of being, things have started to progress for me and stop seeming stagnant. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. Now, one of the things that I picked up on and I seen is that there are no systems around our resources, especially if you're in a situation like me. You're not really paying significant bills. You have a roof over your head, and you have someone handling these things for you, which is a blessing. Now, if you're in this predicament, you should be taking advantage of your resources. But what I see a lot of people doing in this same predicament, they're getting their check, they're getting their direct deposit, they're getting the money, they're getting the resources, right? But as soon as it hits, they're being very impulsive, making very impulsive purchases, and not feeling like every dollar counts. You know, that $7 coffee, that these miscellaneous purchases really add up. And you know, these people, they're making these impulsive purchases, and then they're scared to look at their bank account after, because they know they're just whooping with the Apple Pay, and it's got them scared to look at their bank account. Now, if you can build a system around this, you know, putting money aside for the food, your essentials, food, hygiene, and you know, bills and savings. You know, once you really get a goal and a system set around putting money to the side for certain things, you'll really begin to appreciate the resources that God is blessing you with. Now, on to the next one. Another thing that I've noticed that keeps people in a state or in a mode of survival is having a fixed mindset. Having a fixed mindset towards their environment. Having a fixed mindset towards money. You know, they've been getting money this way all this time. This is what's been working for them, and they don't want to step back. You know, they want to hold on so tight to this idea, and don't want to come to grasp that money is not this thing that is meant to just be worked so hard for. You know, sometimes this when you get this mindset, this is how they keep you running on a hamster wheel and being a slave. You want to live a life of abundance. When you live in a life of abundance, you realize that less is more, and you can do more with less. An example being that when you try when you work hard for things and you put more effort in, sometimes you get less out. You know, the hardest workers in the world don't make the most money. You know, if that was the case, the construction workers and the janitors would be billionaires. They would be the richest people living. And that's not the case. You know, we live in a world of capitalism where people sit back and let the workers work. Let the people who can't think for themselves work years of their life away. So if you can't get out of that fixed mindset with money, that you have to continue to work hard and break your back for the things that you want in life, it'll take forever. But if you pick up the mindset that, hey, maybe if I switch the way I look at this thing, I switch the way I perceive money, maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get this thing that in a shorter time. I'll be able to get this thing that I want in a shorter time with less effort. If there's one thing I can give you guys today, call you to do something today, I recommend that you guys go down a deep search. You got your phone in your hand, whatever you're watching me on, you got the internet, man. Research financial literacy and apply these things. Put these things into practice. Once you begin to really wrap your head around what financial literacy is teaching you, you'll begin to see that the things that we are being fed as Black people is a lie, and it's keeping us from building wealth. Take responsibility. Take responsibility for your resources, or just take responsibility over your life. When you stop shifting blame, this is something I had to do, and I can't stand people who do this, but now that I got out of it, but you have to stop shifting blame, because when you shift the blame and you point the finger on why your life is the way it is, you're giving people power over your life, and you become a victim. Blaming your job, you're not making enough money, blaming the state of the world, blaming the president, blaming people for why your life looks the way it looks will keep it just like that, and you'll end up being a victim. You'll end up being controlled instead of taking control of your life. What I also picked up on is that a lot of people will stay in survival mode. They'll stay in this thing. These people find comfort in the chaos. They find comfort in living a chaotic life. Some people are scared of change. Some people don't want to give these things up. Some people don't want to give it up. Some people lack the discipline. Some people lack the disciplines it takes to get out of this state. They don't see the value in giving these things up.